And hi, everybody online. Thanks for braving. It's so kind of cold out today. I'm impressed people showed up in real life. Right on. I guess we do live in Wisconsin. So, yeah, it's time to toughen up, I suppose. As always, just check that you're in a safe space, especially if you're at home. There's no cords or slippery things around you. We will start on our backs or in a quiet, comfortable seated shape. So if you're starting on your back, you might find it beneficial, helpful to bend your knees and let your feet come to the floor, starting in that constructive rest pose. If you're sitting, finding some grounding through your sit bones, through your bottom, letting your thigh bones feel perhaps just a wee bit heavier and more of an easeful, natural length of your spine up. And gentle reminder that we all have complete agency over our practice. And so if something doesn't feel okay, it doesn't feel safe or supportive, you can back out anytime. So anytime you need to come back to this shape or a different shape, sitting, standing, resting, anytime you need to find a safe, stable shape, please don't hesitate to go there. And we'll take a few moments to intentionally let your physical bodies find some stillness. And with that physical stillness, allowing your body to feel and notice and connect to the surface, to the ground, to the earth beneath you. The stability of the ground to help hold you and ground you, letting your body just rest, relax. Practice letting go, trusting the ground, the earth will hold you up. Drawing some of your awareness, blending the attention of your body with your breathing. So keeping some awareness in your physical body as you connect, noticing and feeling your breath, breathing in and breathing out. If you're in the room, just noticing how the mask might affect your authentic rhythm of breath. If you're in an office or at home and you need to wear a mask, just paying attention how the mask might affect your breathing. Notice if you tend to want to automatically mouth breathe. Maybe you feel a little more tension or tightness up in the throat and the chest. Can you find or feel a little more ease, trying to let the breath come in and out through the nose? And then intentionally guiding your breath lower into the lower ribs. Might even intentionally try and feel the breath lower down around your belly. So as we take the inhale, feeling the belly rise, and as we take the exhale, feeling the belly relax. And as we pay attention to the breath for maybe another half a minute, the practice of allowing your body to breathe for you. Just meaning trying not to use your mind to control the breath. Letting the body, letting the breath happen. So it might feel more like we're with the breath, being the breath, less of doing, forcing, controlling the breath. I'm going to work a little bit on letting go of tension through the top of the shoulders and out into the collarbones, into the armpits. So I don't know about anyone else. When it gets cold, I tend to hike my shoulders up, get really tense in my neck, my jaw, my face. So we're going to just start with taking a couple longer exhales. So as you feel your breath, see if you can comfortably just pull your exhale a little bit longer. So that would be like you get to the end of the exhale, and then there's a little bit of control, like where you go, okay, I'm going to exhale just one more second. And as you exhale just a little bit longer, you want to check in with yourself that your inhale doesn't become a gasp. Okay, so there's a balance. There's just the right amount of exhale, that the inhale comes in nice and smooth. And then when you're ready, you can do this sitting or lying back. You're going to take your hands onto your breastbone sternum. And you're just going to encourage your breastbone to rest into your body with your exhale. So when you inhale, you might feel the rise of the lungs underneath the breastbone, collarbone. And then as you exhale, letting the breastbone draw down and relax a little more. Take 2 more breaths. And then we're all going to come onto our backs. You can keep a hand on your breastbone sternum and take the opposite arm up towards the ceiling. When you take the opposite arm up towards the ceiling, the palm will face in. And with an exhale, as you do, just let the sternum breastbone draw down. We're going to take your arm out like a T towards the side and hold it there for a little bit. See if you can feel the rise and fall, especially the fall, the exhale. And see if that creates any length with your exhale from your ear down through the front of the shoulder, even into the rib cage a little bit. So when you exhale, that collarbone releases or it lowers, it drops a little bit, and it gives us a little length in the neck. Let's see if we can feel that. When you inhale, that collarbone floats up. 2 more breaths. And we're going to take the arm back up towards the ceiling. Feel the back of that shoulder. So whatever arm is up towards the ceiling, let the back of the shoulder stay down, and then draw the arm to the opposite shoulder. You're just reaching over. You're going to hold the arm, anchor through the back shoulder, and take 2 breaths. After 2 breaths, that arm comes back up towards the ceiling. And then both arms come down by your side for 3 breaths. When you feel it's been about 3 breaths, we switch sides. Opposite hand comes on your sternum, opposite arm, hand come up towards the ceiling. Just let that hand soften on the sternum breastbone for a little bit. Feeling the natural rise and fall of the breath underneath the sternum, letting the sternum relax down with your exhale. Then taking the arm out like a T, let it float off the floor. Reaching out through that arm, creating some length. And then as you exhale, can you feel that collarbone rise with the inhale? Exhale, collarbone floats down. And as you exhale and let that collarbone float down, it decompresses the muscles in the neck. Letting some of that tension in the neck find a little more length and space. 2 more breaths. And then taking that arm back up towards the ceiling. Both arms come up towards the ceiling. Let's add some challenge. So if you want more physical core challenge, you're going to take your knees up over your hips. We're going to bend and straighten the knees just 3 times, feeling a little more of the back of the leg hamstring, back of the knee calf. And then when your legs are a little straighter than bent, pause. So you don't have to have super straight legs. Okay. Meet your low back right as it is. So if you have super straight legs and your low back feels kind of jammed or tight, then let your knees bend. Then with an inhale, you're going to take all the limbs out wide, like an X or a Y. And you're going to wait. And when you exhale, then you're going to pull all those limbs back up towards the ceiling. Practice going from the feeling of your breath. So inhale, you go wide. Exhale, feel the exhale back on up. Now, as you get this going, do you notice your back body, the head, the shoulders, the ribs, the hips? Notice how as you take your limbs out, the head, the shoulders, the ribs, the hips stay the same amount of weight. There's not a whole lot of shifting side to side. So we're going to challenge that next time all the limbs come up towards the ceiling. We're going to go contralateral. Now, when we go contralateral, try to keep the same or really close to the same amount of weight in the head, the shoulders, the ribs, and the hips. So your right arm's going to go out to the right a little bit, and you're going to let your left leg go out to the left a little bit and pause. Hold it for a couple breaths so you can really feel, whew, do both back hips feel about the same weight? What about the ribs, the shoulders? Is your spine still in its neutral shape? And then bring everything back up. Left arm goes out, right knee goes out a little bit, or right leg. Find your range of motion and hold it. Can you feel the head, the shoulders, the ribs, the hips? And then bring it back up towards the ceiling. And then we go side to side at our own pace. Just moving from the feeling of your breath. So if your breath starts to get faster, you're going to do your dead bug a little faster. So letting your body connect and feel your breath and move from the rhythm of the breath. We'll do 2 more on each side. Pause whenever you need to pause. Rest when you need to rest. Take care of yourself. All the limbs come up when you're ready. And you can let all the limbs come back down to the floor. Just give yourself a moment to notice. Coming back, remember each one of us has our own unique experience, body to breathing. And then practice 3 mindful breaths. Can you follow 3 full inhales, 3 full authentic exhales? When you feel it's been that 3rd or 4th exhale, we'll figure out how to come all the way on up to standing. So give yourself a few moments. There's no race. You can draw your knees in or roll on over, roll on up, however it works for you. And then we come on up. We bring our legs parallel. If you're in the room and you feel like looking out at the lake, you can face the lake for sure. You can also face this way if you prefer. Just giving yourself a moment to stand, feel your body again, feeling the ground, how the ground connects into the earth and the earth helps stabilize, holds us up. And then your body in space here, feeling your head, ears, stacking your ears back a little more over your shoulders. Shoulders over ribs, over hips. Bringing one hand to your breastbone sternum and just encouraging the breastbone sternum to draw back a little bit. It's really easy when the temperature drops to push the chest forward and hike the shoulders up when we're cold. So relaxing the shoulders, letting that breastbone draw down. So with one hand, it's kind of holding the breastbone for awareness. You're going to take the other arm straight out like a handshake and bring it out to a T. And then bring it back out in front. And try not to move your shoulder. Try to keep your shoulder where it is, like we did on the floor, and just bring the arm across. And then opening the arm all the way out like a T. So yoga core stability holds the rectangle core right as it is as you swing just the arm. So you're just swinging your arm, stabilizing shoulders over ribs, over hips. 2 more. Trying to keep that sternum a little more relaxed, breastbone, sternum area, chest, a little less tense. And then when you're ready, let that swinging arm come down, let your sternum arm come down, and just hang out 3 breaths for awareness. You follow just 3 breaths. And after your 3 breaths, switching hands, one hand coming, opposite hand coming on your chest, opposite arm doing a handshake feel and going out like a T, and then forward and across. Remember, as you cross your body, try to keep the shoulder back. We're not bringing the shoulder around. Strengthening through the abdominals because the abdominals are helping keep the rectangle stacked. So the shoulders stay stacked, ribs and hips stay stacked. We're not rotating. 2 more. And then after 2 more, you can take your arm forward and down by your side. Ooh, 3 mindful breaths. Just follow 3 breaths. Notice whatever it is you're noticing. Right, bringing your right hand on your sternum, letting your left arm come just a little bit wider. So we're going to take your palms back and your knuckles forward. And we're going to swing the arm, that left arm back in extension. So it's going to swing back and then swing forward in flexion. So as you swing your left arm, trying to keep some softness and ease under your sternum hand. Try to keep the sternum down and back, not leading so much, pushing forward in the chest. And maybe the range of motion in the arm gets a little bigger, like you're swinging the arm way back and maybe taking it all the way on up. Remembering that principle of keeping the shoulders, ribs, hips stacked. We'll do 2 more. And then after those 2 more, both arms come down. And again, just letting your arms hang, opening your attention, your awareness for 3 breaths. And switching sides. Left hand coming to your breastbone, right arm coming out a little wider, palms facing back, and starting with some shoulder extension, taking the arm back. Trying not to push the chest forward, and then you're swinging that right arm. You might imagine your right arm's a little more like a heavy lever. Trying to keep the shoulders facing the same direction as the ribs and the hips. Like you're flossing your shoulder. We'll do 3 more. And then we'll let the right arm hang down. And then just a little different this time, we're going to bring your hands to your lower rib cage. Soften your hands on your lower rib cage and see here, if your hands could melt into the ribs, what would your hands feel when you took a breath in and a breath out? Can you feel how the ribs knit or draw in with your exhale? How the ribs expand and broaden with the inhale. Intentionally breathing into your hands, feeling the breath lower than the chest. Fabulous. And then stepping towards the back of your mat. So if you're in the room, you'll probably have to turn, or if you want to, keep looking out, you can, but we're going to walk towards the back of the mat. Bring our legs a little more parallel. Refine that alignment, ears, back, shoulders, ribs, hips. Chest, a little softer. Just noticing if you tend to push the chest or lead your posture from your chest. Feeling the ribs draw down and back. And then we swing the arms forward. And then we're going to swing the arms back behind you just 1 time. Trying to keep the ribs down and in and the chest soft. We'll take the arms all the way on up. Bend your knees and anchor into your heels and lift up through the back of the rib cage. So as you're here, see if you can feel a little more what you can't see. The back of the ribs lift up And with your exhale, nice and strong, fold. Try not to fall forward. Fold forward. Bend your knees as much as you need. You don't have to touch the floor. Let your head hang. You might tuck your chin in a little bit. You shouldn't feel any jamming in your low back. If your hamstrings are tight, honor that and bend your knees. Then inhale, we lift the chest and look out in front of us a little bit. We're going to pause here for just a moment to let the front ribs work against gravity. So gravity wants to pull your ribs down. See if you can find those front ribs and work against gravity, knitting those ribs up. You might fold again with your exhale, and then we walk your hands out and build your first downward facing dog of practice of our class. So if down dog's a little much for you on the floor, you can always use a chair or a table. You can also always come down to hands and knees. So remember, in down dog, we want to have the knees a little bent. And we're really strong through the fingers and the hands, and you're pushing the weight back. If you tend to be someone who works or feels or moves from your chest, you can come back to that feeling of softening the chest. And then we pull the hip creases, pull the sit bones back, 2 breaths. With your exhale, feel your exhale. And then walk your hands and feet together. And come up as slowly as you need to. There's no race. We come back and take 3 breaths in our standing mountain. I'm going to work a little bit on balance. So again, if you're in the room and you want to turn and look at the lake's probably nicer to look at than me. It's pretty beautiful out there today. And feel nice and anchored again. So coming back, like what brings you stability? Maybe it's your physical body. Maybe it's a connection of mind, breath, and body. So everyone's really different. We're all unique. So how do you understand and find stability in your own body? Maybe that's walking over to the wall or having a chair for balance, right? So first of all, you want to feel stable and safe, and then you're going to shift the weight a little bit over into your left side. So not a ton. It's not like a 90-10 thing, but there's a little shift of weight into the right side. So the whole right side becomes a little heavier, and we pick up the left heel. And then if you want a little more, you could pick up your leg and bring your knee forward. When you find that balance on the right side, then see if you can come back to ears, shoulders, ribs, hips stacked, and your chest a little more relaxed. And then we're going to step that left leg back into a lunge. So you take your left leg and step it way back and lift your left heel. So you want to make sure your back heel's lifted. Maybe bring a hand to your chest if that helps you. That reminds you to keep your chest more relaxed. You could also bring your hands to your hips just to help the hips lift up. Bring some mindfulness to lifting up through the pelvic bowl. 3 times with your exhale, you bend your right knee a little deeper. And with your inhale, you push down nice and strong to straighten that right leg. Bending and straightening. As you straighten, try not to lock the knee. So there's a lot of attention and mindfulness in the knees. So paying attention to softening in the upper body, but also the strength it takes to bend and straighten the lower body. Next time your right knee's bent, pause. Let your chest soften. Either hands on your hips or taking your arms out like a handshake. And maybe then stretching your arms up towards the ceiling sky. As you reach up, can you keep your breastbone sternum in your awareness, not pushing it forward? What does it feel like here to take 2 full inhales and exhales? With your next inhale, see if you can feel the breath lift up through the back of the ribs. So inhale through the back of the ribs, and then exhale, step both feet together. 3 breaths. What's it feel like in your body? And then exhale, arms flow out to come up. Bend your knees, long spine, fold forward, try not to fall. Right, reaching up and over. Inhale, lift your chest. Pause for the awareness of the front ribs. Try not to let gravity pull them down, nice and strong. Front ribs lift up, exhale, fold, downward facing dog. Stepping your feet back, your hands forward. Whatever it takes, build your dog. So that means you might grab a table or a chair. Bend your knees and pull your hip creases, but way back. Good, 2 more breaths. Feeling your exhale. So from the feeling of your exhale, walking your hands and feet together, slowly coming all the way on up to standing. And then again, 3, 4, 5 breaths. So just a little bit longer, we'll hang out. Just noticing whatever you're noticing. It's not wrong. Just get to open your awareness, pay attention. And shifting the weight a little bit into your left side. You're going to feel a little more weight on the left side, a little less on the right, and pick up that right heel. So a little different on this side. When you pick up that right heel, then shift the weight back and see if you can find about the same amount of weight on both sides. So just about, doesn't have to be exact. And then if you pick up your right leg, it'd still be like you were about the same weight on each side. You just have 1 foot up. There's still like 50 pounds, 50 pounds. Balance. Notice if you popped your chest forward like I did. I just pushed my heart out into the lake. And then nice and slow, you're going to find your high lunge. So it's a balance the whole way. When you find your high lunge, pause. You build your foundation. Check that you're not jamming your low back or the back of your hips. Ears back, shoulders, ribs stacked, chest. Ooh, a little softer. So first and foremost, you feel safe, grounded. Then you bend and straighten that left front leg 3 times. Mindfulness, breath, and body. Try not to lock out that front left knee when you straighten. And then when that left leg is bent to your capacity, pause, maybe taking the arms up. And you keep the chest feeling a little softer. The ribs back with the hips. What does it feel like in your body? You're the only one that knows what it feels like to breathe in your body. What's it feel like for 2 or 3 breaths? And when you're ready, shifting the weight forward and stepping both feet together. Exhale, arms sweep out to come up. Bend your knees as much as you need to fold forward. Stretch out your low back, stretch out your butt, your hamstrings. Chest can lift, pause, awareness of the front ribs. Fold and step back, downward facing dog. If you want a little more challenge, physical challenge, come down to tabletop. If you're happy in dog, you can stay in dog. If you need a rest, you can come to table. So if you want more physical challenge, you're going to walk your knees back a little bit. Okay, and then with your knees back, look at your hands and get really strong through your hands and pull your chest forward a little bit. Now, as your chest comes forward, you might feel your lower ribs wanting to drop with gravity, like you just kind of want to fall in the hips. You're going to work a little bit against that. So if you could find your table and take your table and pull it forward to more of like an angled plank. Feel the lower ribs draw down and in. And yeah, you could feel your pubic bone coming a little more towards the floor. And then if you want more physical challenge, bend your elbows and do one push-up. And then press back to table. Curl your toes, downward facing dog. All right, so we're gonna do that series a few more times. You can come down to tabletop. Option one, if you're tired, you want to rest, you're going to go back to child's pose. Option two, if you want to work a little more physically, you pull your body forward, find length, strength, and stability, and do a push-up. And push back to downward facing dog. Try for 2 or 3 more. Remember, self-care means rest when you need to rest. So we like to go at this from a place of self-care, taking care of ourselves. Rest when you need to rest. Maybe you do one more down dog, push-up combo. Maybe you do one more down dog and end up back in child's pose. So if you're doing a down dog push-up combo, then you'll come back to downward facing dog. And we'll either be in downward facing dog or child's pose for about 5 breaths. And then we're going to exhale, push up to tabletop. If you're in down dog, drop your knees and build your table. Right, so from table, you're going to walk your knees back a little bit. We're just going to stretch out through the upper back, down through your triceps. So you're going to keep your hands really nice connected to the floor and let your elbow forearms come down to the floor. And then you push down and come back up to tabletop. Okay, so when you bend your elbows, try not to arch your back a whole lot, resisting gravity, okay? So as you bend your elbows, try to keep your ribs knit, meaning your ribs draw up. There you go, 2 more. Now, maybe your elbows don't touch the floor. It's okay, you don't have to force it. Trying to feel a little more of the shoulder blade to the tricep. Great. Then when your elbows come all the way down this time, pause. Imagine there was a magnet up on the ceiling pulling your spine into your back. So if there was a magnet, a spine magnet on the ceiling, it would pull your spine up. Can you feel your spine going a little more into your back body? Now, if this is enough challenge, you're going to hang out right here. If you want more, curl your toes and lift your knees and take your legs to downward facing dog and keep your elbows down on the floor. And find like an elbow forearm dog. And take 2 or 3 breaths. And then with an exhale, lower your knees. Push up to table and lower all the way down onto your belly. Bring your forearms underneath your forehead. Let your forehead rest on your forearms and pull your toes and your legs back so you're nice and connected long through your back body. 3 exhales to soften your chest. Shoulders softening down out of your ears. Pushing a little more into your top forearm, into your bottom forearm. Inhale, lengthen, like your head could lengthen forward. Peel your chest up, little baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. 2 more. See how long you can feel head to toes? On your 3rd one, when you lift up, pause. You could stay in a little baby cobra. You could press into your pubic bone front of your hips a little more and lift your back legs up. Exhale, lower everything down. Inhale, stay super long, lift everything up. 2 more. Third one, maybe your chest is lifted, maybe your legs are lifted. Maybe just your chest. Check in. What does it feel like to breathe in your body for 2 breaths? And then lower down. Let everything rest that can rest. Does your chest and your front body have an opportunity to feel the floor? The back body, nice and open, back lungs. What does it feel like to take a few breaths into your back lungs? Inhaling and exhaling. Nice. With your next couple exhales, we're going to push up. So you might push to table. You might feel you want to push up to a plank pose. You might push to a hands and knees. And then we're all going to meet in an easy sitting shape. So push up and then find an easy sitting shape. Bring your hands just down on your hips first. So if crisscross applesauce is, comfortable, sweet. If you need to bring your feet out in front like this, that's great too. Okay, we won't be here more than about a minute. We want to try and keep your pelvis stable and then the rib cage. So you feel your hips, right hip, left hip, pelvis up here to your ribs. Ribs are going to rotate around. And we're just going to go slow. Your own pace, trying to move the ribs, not the hips. Might feel the chest. It's easy to push the chest forward here. You want a little more challenge, you can take your arms out and up and around. But as the arms come up, out, and around, remember, really concentrate on keeping your hips set. Try not to move the hips, move the ribs. 1 more to each side. And then after this one to the left, we come back to center. Sweet, bring the arms down. Great, bring the feet out in front of you. Hold on to the back of your legs. You could start by putting your hands way up here in your knees, and then you're going to walk yourself all the way down And draw your knees into your chest. And just rest for a little bit, drawing your knees in. Might sway your knees a little bit side to side. You might take your feet down into constructive rest pose or outstretch them more towards a shavasana. A resting shape, you could bring a hand on your chest, a hand on your belly. Most importantly, you're in a shape where you can really let go and feel supported more by the floor, ground, earth. So you can come in and feel the wave of your breath. So connecting the breath from the chest to the lower belly. We'll take the last few moments here in silence just to come back to your body breathing. Being with the breath. Just that gentle reminder, no one feels what you feel. Noticing, paying attention, being with that experience of your breath. See if you can follow 3 more breaths, 3 inhales, 3 exhales. When you think it's been 3 breaths, check in. Maybe you want a full body stretch. Maybe you want to draw your knees into your chest. Just start some easy movements. And then slowly starting to roll over and come on up to sitting. Oh, this is my favorite part of class when we all roll over and come on up. Thank you, everyone online. Thanks, everyone in person. Happy Tuesday.